Hey, you awesome folks! Thanks for taking this journey of discovery with your guide, Keith Haney. You're listening to the Becoming Bridge Builders podcast, your favorite podcast for everything from racial reconciliation to education innovation, justice reform, and leading change in the 21st century. This podcast is for people who love to be challenged with difficult topics, but want practical solutions to solve these challenging issues. Becoming Bridge Builders makes change possible. Each week on the podcast, Keith invites innovative thought leaders to share how they are building bridges in their area of expertise. You will hear breakthrough ideas and concepts that are changing the world. He's featuring guests who are best-selling authors, leaders at Microsoft, entrepreneurs, leading educators, professors, lawyers, and so many more. Listen in to learn how you can be the bridge to the change you are seeking.
My guest today is Senator Marty Flynn. Senator Flynn is a resilient figure whose journey weaves through a gritty world of professional boxing to the steam halls of Pennsylvania State Senate. Raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Marty excelled in sports in Scranton Preparatory School and Marywood University, where he discovered his passion for boxing. Flynn's relentless dedication and tenacity to the legendary champ's gym led him into the ring alongside greats like Ivan Robinson and Mike Stewart. As fate would have it, he became the sparring partner to boxing legend Bernard Hopkins, leaving an incredible and indelible mark on the sports industry. Transitioning seamlessly from sports to politics, Marty Flynn became a state representative before becoming a distinguished state senator. His life story, marked by resilience and commitment, extends beyond the squared circle and political arena, encompassing roles as an inmate education coordinator and chairman of the Prison Misconduct Board in Lackawanna County Prison. Senator Flynn's legacy is that of a fighter, not only within the ring and politics, but as a beacon of hope, showcasing that resilience, determination, with an unyielding spirit, one can overcome any obstacle and leave an enduring impact on the world. Welcome, Marty, to the podcast. I love to ask my guests this opening question, get a chance to know you a little bit better. So give me the best piece of advice you've ever received.
The harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. And I was like, that hit me right then and there, and it hits me right now. You know, like, the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get.
Oh, I love that.
So true. It's so true, you know?
That's
and a lot of
amazing.
things have to line up in life and certain things, but if you're not working your tail off the whole time, it's not necessarily going to happen or not happen for you.
That's extremely true. I love that. That's a really good quote.
Yeah, that popped right in my head when I read that.
I love asking my guests this question too, because, you know, as we go through life, there are so many people who've come into our life at sometimes just the right moment, who have been role models or mentors for us. Who are some people in your life, could be your boxing or political life, who have been role models or mentors for you?
I think like a lot of my family members, like my godfather was one. He passed away a little over 10 years ago. My Uncle Matt, he was pretty cool. And he was just always into political discourse, and he was kind of like a Benjamin Franklin kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Like a lover of everything, great with people, well-read, that would always, you know, pick my brain and see the way I ticked, and, you know, would recalibrate me at times when I needed to be, you know, at a younger age, you know? Definitely him. And then different coaches that I've had and teachers that I've had over the years definitely helped steer me in the right direction, I would say, to be successful and to be a contributing person to society, I would say, because education-wise, I went to a Catholic grade school. I went to a Jesuit Catholic high school, and then Catholic colleges. So service and contributing to society were always a theme of my education, I would say.
Sure.
So it's kind of baked into the person that I am, and it comes out from time to time. Now a lot more that I'm an elected official. So
as you think about those people, they also probably shape how you lead. How did they contribute to your leadership style?
That's a good question. I think my leadership style has been the same since I'm 5 years old. It's like I'm smashing somebody with a blunt object. But I've gotten more tactical over the years, but I think the most effective way I get things done is with brute force, which is kind of like being a state senator. You would think that there would be some form of advanced interpersonal skills that helped get an issue through, or just this advanced human relations type of discussion. But I think when you go street in a meeting, it gets a lot more efficient, which is kind of surprising. It's really surprising to me that I got things done by being very direct and being very direct and forward about things.
So diplomacy's out the window.
Yeah, it just seems like weakness doesn't get anything done,
Right.
to me in government, which, it's kind of sad, but
yeah, that's unfortunate.
It just holds truth with historical opinion on diplomacy. It's generation in, generation out. It's always the same story, I would say.
I love that. So I'm curious, tell us about your personal story, your journey. Because when I read your bio, it was so interesting to kind of track where your career has gone. Kind of give us your backstory.
Yeah, it is kind of wild, right? So, I grew up in Northeast PA, Scranton, small city, but big time, and I played sports my whole life, like baseball, football, wrestling, that kind of thing. And we have like a rich history of boxing here. And I always wanted to box for some reason. And I think it was because my grandfathers were both pro boxers, my mom's father and my dad's father.
Wow.
So like they'd have those pictures up on the wall, where they're standing there in their fighting pose from
Right.
like 1940 or 30, whatever it was. And I was like, I want to do that. And being a little kid, my parents were like, "No, you're going to school. That's for people who, are trying to make ends meet," that kind of thing, But I was always drawn to the sport. And when I turned 18 and graduated high school, when I went to college, I was supposed to play baseball at the school I went to. And it was kind of like the program wasn't that intense in a sense. You know what? I'm going to start boxing. For some reason that popped into my mind. So I went to a local gym and I just started working out. And 6 weeks later, I fought.
How'd you do?
Won.
Oh, you won?
I won.
All right.
Yeah. I won my first 2 amateur fights, which was pretty cool. But it really like brought everything into focus in my life, I would say. And it just took such intense focus and training to just survive, let alone thrive in the sport. You know what I mean? And I just got sucked into it, and that it actually helped with everything outside of it too. Like with discipline, it was like wake up early, run, go to class, that kind of stuff, go to the gym,
right,
go to work. Like my day was more filled than it's ever been, even to this day, I would say, when I was in college. And it kind of gave me like a blueprint for success. I always say that, like it just put me in that super ultra disciplined mindset. And it's like, here I am, 18 years old, which is late for boxing. Anybody knows, you know what I mean? It's like boom, boom, and then punch, boom, boom. You're taking 2 to give 1 because you have to learn. You know what I mean? There's little kids who, are in a mirror, learn how to box when they're 5 years old. That they never took a punch till they're 8 years old, and they're already moving their heads and boom, 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 boom. You're basically programming the human mind to operate outside of its natural instincts. because boxing isn't natural. Like naturally people want to, you put your chin up and swing, like boxing is teaching you to tuck your chin, keep your hands up. It's just not natural. And
Right.
you're reprogramming these neural thoughts over, and at 18, it's kind of hard to do that. And, I had to like work twice as hard as say a kid that's 7 years old. So I go knee deep into this boxing thing and just become obsessed with it. So I think I was amateur till I was about like 25, maybe 26. So from like 18 to 26, I was amateur, honing my skills, and got like super into boxing. And then I decided to turn pro. Well, first, this was like me training in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And then a kid, I started dipping my feet into the water, driving down to Philadelphia, which was about 2 hours away. And back then, like I had a Honda Accord, gas was $1.40 a gallon.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The tolls were like $3 both ways. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big deal to commute and go down there. But I met a kid. I forget where I met him, but he's like, "Yo, I could take you to my old gym in North Philadelphia." He's like, "Bernard Hopkins trains at this gym," who, at the time was like middleweight champ of the world. And I was like, "Yeah, definitely. I want to go down there and work out." So he drives me down, and I actually drive him down. I go down, me and him go down and go to this gym, which is on like 20th and Huntington, all the way up in North Philadelphia, which like not even the sidewalks are white. I tell people like back in like 99, 2000, like white people wouldn't even get out of their car in this area. So here comes me, Johnny Crackcorn, walking in the door at Champ's Gym, with this kid I was friends with, Robert. And I walk in this gym, and like all the heads like turn, like there's no white people even at the gym at that time. And they're like, "Who's the cop?" You know what I mean? For literally 6 months I was there, they thought I was a cop. So that was kind of crazy. But so I go in there and work out, and two trainers, Wade and Randy Hinton, came over like, "Yo, who you working with down here? You have a trainer down here?" I'm like, "No, I have a guy back home, but I don't have a trainer. Well, you want to work with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I started commuting down there, and then end up eventually moving down there to pursue like a professional boxing career. So it was pretty cool, like the life lessons, like what I learned, what I learned in the sport, what I learned about people. It was just a total like culture explosion, which was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
How did that experience shape the next phase of your career in politics?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And now a word from one of our sponsors, For Freedom Mobile. If you're using AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile, then you're being tracked. Mobile providers collect your location, communications, internet activity, even your financial transaction. They sell that data to anyone willing to pay for it and provide it to the government without a warrant. Switch to For Freedom Mobile, and you won't ever have to worry about big tech or Big Brother tracking you through your mobile phone again. For Freedom Mobile provides secure, unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data for just $29.99 a month, and it includes free internet roaming in over 200 countries. Sign up for the service by visiting forfreedommobile.com and using the promo code BridgeBuilders to get your first month for only $9.99. See forfreedommobile.com for details, just like the number 4, freedommobile.com.
That experience, it really led me down the empathy world, wormhole, to where it made me think about other people, about things, about how their experiences are different than mine, and how, like, just growing up in a lower middle class area, neighborhood, like how blessed I was as compared to somebody that basically lived in terrible conditions, had no access to a supermarket, let alone, you know what I mean, a stable food source that, day in and day out are training right next to me in America, and it's two different worlds, and still here we are, just people, and how it's not fair in a sense, and being able to like look at things from other people's perspectives. It really opened my eyes in that sense.
Yeah,
That's probably the most.
Yeah, I grew up in Louisiana, and my first call in ministry was to Detroit, Michigan. And it was like a whole nother world because I grew up in small town, southern town, Louisiana, and all of a sudden you're in the big city and you're confronted with all these big city problems. And I remember thinking to myself, as a church of about 120, it's overwhelming. We can't possibly even make a dent in all the problems that are there. So as someone who's trying to deal with some of those large issues, how do you pick what will be your priority? Because you can't do everything. So what do you say? How do you decide what's your focus going to be?
Well, first and foremost, that is a great perspective to have from the outside for you to know that, because most people don't.
Right.
You have to be a jack of all trades. You cannot be a master of everything in the building I'm in. There's so many issues and so many topics. You need to know a little bit about as much as you can and have an educated opinion on everything. And then you have to take that and look at, like, does that match with the 240,000 people that I represent? What is their feeling on this? How does my district feel if I vote on this? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And how does that compare to my my personal beliefs, my personal opinions, my personal sense of morality in whatever that issue is also,
Right.
So those things definitely come into contention, but 9 out of 10 times, probably 97 out of 100 times, I know where I'm at all the time. Every once in a while you get that curveball. You're like, I don't know what you're going to vote on this, but
right.
Yeah, it's usually not that hard for me. Yeah. Especially where I come from too. My district is very middle of the road, so to speak, like, which is basically a bellwether for politics in the United States. National news outlets always look at Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area for the bellwether of what is America's temperature on things. So,
as a politician, what are your top priorities? Like, if you would say this is the thing I'm really pouring into, what is that you're really passionate about?
Well, being the transportation chair in the Senate, taking care of the roads and bridges in Pennsylvania is a huge priority of mine. It's been underfunded since the 50s, since the major highway systems were actually built. But at the same time, Pennsylvania has more roads and bridges than New York, New Jersey, and all of New England combined, because it's such a big state. But, our weather cycles are also different than, a lot of southern states that destroy the roads and bridges. So that's something that, like, I have to spend a lot of my focus and a lot of my time on. But the major concern I have right now is our democracy in the United States. I think the fascist, autocratic tendencies of people's knee-jerk reactions are definitely swaying our politics more to the ultra-right. I think it's a worldwide phenomenon right now, and I think it's definitely scary. But first and foremost, the fact that our republic is under attack from forces from the right, kind of ultra-right, kind of scares me. But that's first and foremost. Then I would say education funding, public education. I think everybody deserves a free, fair public education, and I think not only Pennsylvania but the United States has been dropping the ball over the past 30 years in terms of putting out a good product worldwide, and that's something we need to attack and get to work on. Stop trying to divert money away from it.
Yeah, it was funny. I spent 8 years in Milwaukee, and we started with we were one of the first to do school choice, And I remember being in a poor community, how important that was for my members, because we had a school and we were in an area where education was just not advancing. And so many of the kids were failing. I remember having a talk with one of my students one day. I said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" She said, "I want to be a video dancer." And I'm like, "That's not a career. That's not realistic." Then I was like, "Well, at least dance." And then I was like, "That's not going to work for you." Kind of like the whole boxing thing. It's like everybody has a plan to get punched in the face. I think what Mike Tyson said. So I had to try to help her understand that your best avenue for living out your dream is to have a good education. So I tried to really pour into the kids to like, it's really important that you guys read and you educate yourself and you know about the basics, because that way you can open doors to so many things you're going to do in life. And so as you talk about some of the challenges you're facing, what are some of the things that maybe you are working on in Pennsylvania to improve education?
Well, I think taking money away and having charter schools, basically cyber charters especially, that they're getting billions of dollars, like $20,000 per student, with no accountability. They have no accountability with the spending of those dollars. You know, they can put ads on TV. They can do all these things that are basically not fair to the other part of the education system. It's just basically a business. They have no standards in terms of performance. When, you know, our regular school districts have performance metrics, these things they're just systematically trying to divert money away from the classroom. That's destroying the basic public education. Do I think charter schools are bad? No. I think cyber charter schools are bad because there's no accountability. You know,
Right.
In certain areas where the school district has failed children year in and year out, that is definitely a viable option. It is shown to have some success in our big cities, especially in our African American communities. You know, these have been the game changer for these people. But I don't think you should throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I think, you know, our kids deserve a fair, adequate public education, and that's something I'm gonna continue to push for more accountability.
I love that. You mentioned something I want to get back to. You said what got you into politics was you learned in the gym about empathy. And I remember taking a class in policy from my work I was doing on my doctorate. And empathy plays a big role, I think, in policy making. So how do you, as a politician, try to keep empathy in the policies that you're crafting for your constituents?
Well, the interesting part about Pennsylvania is like you have Philadelphia, then you have Pittsburgh, and then you have Kentucky in between.
Right.
So when I first got to Harrisburg, it was like, oh my God, it's like these people are like Texans, like, you know what I mean? It was just like a whole different vibe that I wasn't sure of. And it's basically a rural state with people from inner cities. So me coming from middle-class white background, okay, emerging myself in lower class African-American background has really helped me communicate between the city people and then the rural people, but then try to connect them in certain issues, but making them empathize on certain issues, because you are what your background is. So if you're not around people who are different than you, you're not going to really look through things or have empathy for what they do unless there's some kind of relationship you have to form. You know what I mean? Or you're going to be stuck in your silo in this back mountain community or this city community. So I try to do that. Like, it's hard though, because people are really like stuck with their backgrounds. Like I'll give you a topic, for instance, like major cities have police and fire departments.
Right.
Okay. So that becomes a huge part of their budget because they pay for a full-time police and they pay for a full-time fire department. Okay. So Philly, Pittsburgh, Scranton, Allentown, the cities, okay? But then you have all these rural areas in Pennsylvania that have volunteer fire, okay? So they
Right.
don't pay, they don't have to pay for that. They don't have to pay the employees. It's all volunteer. Then they have the state police them. So they don't have to pay a police department. So in their worlds, they don't care when $30 million allocations get, or $100 million allocations get allocated, because that doesn't have nothing to do with them. They don't think that that's right because they don't have to deal with that. But they don't think as lawmakers that they should have to deal with that because it doesn't affect their community, though it affects different communities in the state.
Sure.
So it gets very challenging when these ideologies collide. And at the same time, these people don't have to deal with these issues. So it gets very, very complicated. And then, like just getting political about things, like it's really hard when the Republican Party doesn't stand to do anything. You know what I mean? They just go against everything. So, it's like, what are you for? Tell me what you're for, not against. Like, what do you want to get done here? But it gets very, very, very challenging, to say the least. When, we could agree on 95% of the stuff, then we have to deal with 5% that everybody wants to fight about,
For people in the middle, I think they're frustrated just by all of it.
Yeah.
And so as a blunt force trauma kind of a politician, how do you help people in the middle go, I just want to see something happen. I want to see something I want to see action. And I guess,
well, that does help me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I've been getting stuff done because I am in the middle and I am someone that they can talk to. But, in Pennsylvania now we have a Democratic House. I was in the House for 9 years. I leave and they get the majority.
Right.
I was in the minority there, So we have a Democratic House. Now we have a Republican Senate and we have a Democratic governor. So there is some things, and the good part about being a transportation chair is there's no Republican roads or Democratic roads.
It's just roads.
Yeah, they're just roads. So we get along great there. My chairman and myself, my majority chairman, Langerholt, he's great. So he's a real rural guy too. So it's interesting, but yeah, like sometimes I just smash my head against the wall.
Hey, you feel like you're boxing again.
Yeah, no, it's way different. Way different. It's dark. It's dark and they have knives. And there's more than one. At least in the ring, you know who you're fighting and you can see them.
Yeah, that's true. I'm curious, as you think about just some of the challenges you face behind the scenes, and for us who don't understand it, how do you overcome some of those challenges? Because I know that there are things happening that we don't understand, but how do you work behind the scenes to get things done?
Yeah, there's so many layers to things. And then like there's national layers to things that I don't have privy to,
Right.
In some cases, in the state, you can walk into a moving car very quickly in that building. So you have to be very cautious. You have to be very cautious, with what lobbyists you're dealing with, what they're up to, what's their issue when, they come to see you, they want you to run this bill, or they want you to, well, why does this guy want me to help? It's kind of like, it gets really street in a sense. Like you have to see through people's bullshit day in and day out and know where things are going. But it gets real challenging, because there's always something going on behind it. And you have to really look at the person too. That's a great part. It's a great way to explain to you what goes on behind the scenes. You have to look at the issue, but then you have to look at the person. Who are you dealing with? What are they about? That tells a lot. Your word is your currency in the building. So if you're dealing with somebody that, their word isn't worth anything, it makes it a lot harder.
Right.
But if you're dealing with somebody that's pretty straight up and, never did you dirty, that wouldn't lead you into oncoming traffic, then then maybe you can make a deal about something. But yeah, it gets dicey, to say the least.
I think the way you described it is interesting. It's like, at least in the ring, you know who you're fighting.
Yeah.
It does seem like with all the different elements in politics, like you talk about the lobbyists.
Yeah.
How do you know, as a senator, what lobbyists are actually lobbying for things that are good for your constituents versus just good for themselves? I mean, you got to be. How do you distinguish? You know what I mean? Because
there's some there's some really conservative, and then there's some really liberal lobbyists. And then, like I say to everybody, anybody that writes me a check, like, I could care less. Anybody I support, I'll put them on my jacket. Like, I'm not trying to hide anybody that supports me or doesn't support me. Like, everybody knows where I stand on issues. In a sense, I don't like to be wishy-washy on stuff. So I don't think that part is really hard for me. It's pretty clear cut in terms of who I'm dealing with. And don't get me wrong, if someone came out of left field and was asking me some kind of crazy thing, I'd be like, yo, dude, wrong guy, wrong office, bye. You could see that. You could see that a mile away. It's
right.
not like, what are you looking for here? It's so transparent in a sense, like coming from the background that I was exposed to. Like, I came from like a middle class background, but being in Philadelphia over the years, being like I've seen a lot of shit in my day. So, especially being like kind of a street kid in a way,
right?
In a sense, I'm educated, but I'm kind of a street kid that, came up not that easy. So I could see that kind of stuff a mile away.
If you were going to talk to someone young person who was thinking about a career in politics, what are the warnings you would have for them, and what are the encouragement you'd have for them?
Just follow your instincts and your beliefs. You can get a lot of good things done with persistence, on issues. I've seen people have one issue their entire career as a politician and still not get it done, but still stick and just bite like a pit bull and tear and tear and tear, and then eventually get it done. But go with your guts. And the other thing I never noticed growing up, I would say, is just how many jobs there are and how, like, people can make a lot of money being involved with government. Not even necessarily being a lawyer, but being like a lobbyist, a lawyer, a chief of staff. Like, there's a good living to be made by people through government. But yeah, definitely stick with it. And if you have something that you're very passionate about, get involved with it in government, and go for it.
If you're looking to get into it at entry level, where would you suggest people start? If they were just like, I want to get into it, but I'm not sure exactly how to start, how to approach it.
Well, first off, make sure you vote, register to vote, no matter what your party is. Okay. Get involved in a campaign, no matter what. Get involved in a campaign for something that you believe in. It could be a nonprofit, but it could be someone's official capacity. Do that first, and then see, school boards, councils, those kind of things are always a good stepping stone to learn the process. But like, I went and ran for state representative, which was kind of like a big step out of the gate. But I kind of, got lucky with hard work, like we said before, hard work, get luckier. I got lucky. I became a state rep. I represented 66,000 people. Now I represent 240,000 people. That was kind of a lucky path, I would say. Most people would come from being like a council person or a school director in that sense, and then run for that if it opened up. But I would say definitely get involved in a campaign to some degree, because people promote their own from their system. It's hard to come from the outside and force your way into a system, which I did. It was kind of timing, luck, like everything, hard work, all bunched together for myself. But for other people, what I see, like watching the system and the way it works, the system promotes its own. So get involved in the system, whatever party you are, register to vote, get your party, go to work on a campaign, work on a nonprofit campaign, run for office eventually. And, that the best and the brightest usually get pushed up. But, it's crazy to see some of the people that win, but hey, I can't throw stones.
Right. What was it like walking the streets just talking to voters that first time for you?
I'll give you a good story. I was asking, they had like a political guy, some political insider from my area who was supporting me when I did this, kind of like pushed a guy on me. He said, yo, go help this guy. He never ran a campaign anymore. And this guy came to me. He's like, yo, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to knock on doors that ask for your vote, that kind of thing. I'm like, this isn't hard. Like, I don't have to fight them. You put it in perspective. Just going to ask them for their vote. It was interesting to see what people cared about. And, they just want to be heard. People just want to be heard. And if you're attentive to the people that vote for you, they support you. And that's what's crazy. Like, you're human. It's not like you're expected that you have there's such this expectation of you to not screw up and not say this or not say that. Like you're human. Like, you're going to mess up.
Right.
Wouldn't you rather somebody be themselves than just pretend to be somebody that doesn't say anything and doesn't mess up saying anything? And that's where I kind of fall. I screw up all the time, but I own it.
There you go. I'm curious, what are you most excited about in this season of your life?
In this season, wow. Probably getting things done for my area, bringing money back to get projects done, to see like investment in blighted areas. That's, especially my neighborhood where I grew up in, it's kind of deteriorated to some extent. And see any kind of new development kind of makes me happy,
Yeah, I love that. So you've had an interesting career, and I'm curious, when this is all done, when the final gavel comes down, what do you want your legacy to be?
Just that I cared. I cared about making my community a better place. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty simple, but it's also impactful.
Yeah, that's it. I wanted it to be better than it was when I got here, and I left it. Whatever carbon mark I made on where I was, that I made it a little bit better in the human experience. That's all.
That's awesome. Anything I haven't asked you that I should ask you, Senator?
I'm surprised you weren't on the Bernard Hopkins stuff, being you're from Iowa when he whooped up on Eccles twice.
I do like Bernard Hopkins. I got distracted by your other answers.
Antoine Eccles is from Iowa. You know Antoine Eccles?
No, I don't. I haven't been in Iowa that long. I've only been here like 4 years. I came from Louisiana before.
Okay. Nice.
I was a big Sugar Ray Leonard fan, so.
Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard was the truth. What a nice guy, too.
Yeah, he
Super
was.
nice guy. Super nice guy. Super talented. Marvin was my man, though.
Marvin Hagler.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that, the Hitman. See, I connected with him a little bit more because my first call was to Detroit. So I'm in Detroit, but a Sugar Ray fan. But, Marvin the Hitman Hearns is from Detroit.
No. Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler. You're thinking the Motor City Cobra.
Yeah.
Tommy Hearns.
Tommy Hearns, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, Tommy Hearns. Yeah. Yeah, he was a beast too. The
was.
Four Kings. The Four Kings. Duran, Hagler, Hearns, and Leonard. They call them the Four Kings.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
But yeah. Awesome.
I haven't thought about boxing in a long. I kind of lost. I haven't watched boxing lately because it's not what it used to be. So.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Well, not when I grew up. So there was some. I grew up during the time of some serious heavyweights.
This weekend. Yeah. The Tyson era.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm almost 60.
Okay, I'm 48.
So there's a question for you. I didn't ask this. Who is your favorite boxer of all time?
My favorite would be Bernard Hopkins, just because, I think the best to ever lace them up was probably Sugar Ray Robinson, but my favorite boxer is Bernard Hopkins, just, because of the relationship I have with him and how I got to know him and everything. It was just pretty wild.
So tell us that story. Since we didn't ask you that one, tell us about how you met Bernard Hopkins.
Well, I met him because I trained at the same gym as him, and training there, it was different being a white kid there, and everybody's like looking at the white kid. So even him, he was looking at like, who's this white dude? So like he tells the story all the time. Like this kid come in, get his ass kicked every week, drive 2 hours home, come back. There he is on Monday again, So like he tells a story about there's actually an article in Ring magazine about it. You can Google it, it'll come up, but he talks about it and getting to know him like was pretty cool. Like he just like started watching and saw how tough I was and how, I got better and better and just kept coming back, and we became friends. We're still friends today. I was talking to him the other day. He actually came to my swearing in when I got sworn in as senator. It was pretty cool.
That is cool. So you sparred with him, I saw in your bio. How'd that go?
Yeah. The first day went great. I did great against him the first day. Not the second day. Or the third day. Yeah.
What happened the second day?
He figured I was doing something, and he just started hitting me with that right hand, and it just kept coming. He picked up on something. And I didn't pick up what he picked up on. I had 2 black eyes. My nose was over on the other side of my face. Yeah. The guy was just like, it's hard to explain, but like this gym was so energized all the time. And then when this guy was in here, it was like, it just brought the level from here to here. Like it was nuts how hard that guy trained, like, and just tough, super skilled, super high ring IQ. Like, yeah, unbelievable.
Wow.
Guy was unbelievable.
That's neat.
And did it into his 50s, which is insane. I can't even get out of bed, let alone go fight somebody.
That's pretty funny.
Right? But like I would go to dinner with him and stuff, and like this guy literally he would eat chicken with like nothing on it. Like I just steamed chicken, just plain rice, like vegetables plain, like nothing on. Like he was like a Jedi, man. Guy was a freak. Just so disciplined, like another level, like total another level discipline.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was, but it was a great life experience, spending time down there with those guys and getting to know everybody.
That's awesome. So where can people find you and follow what you're doing in Pennsylvania?
On my Facebook page, Senator Marty, I think it's Sen Marty Flynn. And then my Instagram, my personal Instagram, a lot of people follow me, is the Marty and Lake Flynn at Marty and Lake Flynn. So that's my personal Instagram. I'm on there.
Well, thank you, Senator Flynn, for taking the time to be on the podcast and sharing with us kind of a little bit about you and about what you're doing and your career. You've had a fascinating career so far, and so thank you for adding such great content.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's great getting to know other people and talking shop. Good stuff.
If you're ever in Iowa, come by and we'll give you a pig.
Hell yeah, Keith. Definitely, we'll ship that home.
Well, blessings, my friend.
You too. Have a great one.
Thanks for listening to Becoming Bridge Builder. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help support the podcast, please subscribe and share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at @bkeithhaney and on Getter and Twitter @RevHeadpin or on his website at alightbreaksthrough.org. Thanks again and tune in next time.
Do you know that most entrepreneurs hit a revenue ceiling and have no idea why? They're working harder, spending more money, running more ads, but revenue stays flat. My friend Dr. Noah St. John calls this the invisible break. He's giving our listeners a free revenue ceiling audit to help you see what's really holding you back. You'll get a free 30-day membership to NoahBot, giving you access to Dr. Noah's 30 years of experience to help you reach your next level. But hurry, because there's only 50 available this month. So if you're tired of being stuck at the same revenue level and want to finally break through, get your free revenue ceiling audit at drnoahvault.com in the affiliate link that'll be listed in the show notes.